And welcome to another episode of the Nindie Focus podcast. My name is Roger. Along with me are my co-hosts and the bestest friends in the whole wide world, Phil.
There is so much smoke in my butt right now. I mean, I appreciate it, Roger. I'm so stoked to be here. This is going to be great.
Is it because of the Xbox Series X? Is that why you have all that smoke?
Now, I don't sit on that. That's just weird. It smokes on its own. I've not influenced it in any way, shape, or form except for telling it what games to download.
And Jordan?
Hi, I sit on my PS5 controller and it feels real good.
Oh, God.
That new Rumble they got is next level.
And they're racing.
And Mike?
Hi. I got nothing. That's all I got.
Now we need one anchor on the show to just,
No kidding.
Yeah.
Mike, thanks for being sane. We appreciate you.
I try.
I was going to say, Mike, you're like the sane one.
Sure, I'll take it.
Welcome to the show. This is our holiday show, guys.
Wait, what? Is there surprises in store?
I don't know.
Okay, good. Well, actually, I'm sure there will be since I'm picking the game.
True. I took a quiz and it said I was on the naughty list. So,
that explains your PlayStation controller.
Oh, God.
You know what? Worth it. Worth it.
You know, speaking of getting feedback from something, I'm not sure.
That's a segue, yeah.
You guys, I'm a core gamer. According to Nintendo, I'm a core gamer. Okay. I guess we're all...
I have adventures on islands and stuff like that.
That's really what your thing was?
Yeah, man. I wish I would have been a little bit more prepared. I'd had it pulled up. Yeah, it said, because I think it had to do with the amount of time that I spent playing that game that we're not allowed to talk about because it's a big name title.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because it was probably my most played game of the year. So it was just like, you are an island gamer or something along those lines.
Oh, interesting. What about you, Mike? Did you check your stats?
Yeah, I played, I think I did right around the middle, the median of everybody that posted in the chat.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. And did you get core gamer
easily
too?
Forgotten. Yeah, I'm a core gamer.
Okay. Did you guys see? Okay, I know they know this is a Nindie Focus podcast, but did you have how many Mario games you played?
I did, yeah. Mine was like 7 or something.
Really? That
really?
many? Wow.
Well, I think it's because of that triple pack that came out with Sunshine and Galaxy and 64. So that was 3 right there.
Those are probably the 3 because I had 3. And those probably the 3 that I had.
Yeah. Plus, I also played Paper Mario.
Oh,
that was 4. Sure. I think I played a little bit Mario Rabbids, so that would have been 5. I don't know what the other 2 would have been. I didn't play any Odyssey this year.
Yeah, so it classified me as a getaway traveler. You like to realize potential of a deserted island. Wow. Yes, is what it says about me.
Wow, look at you. You're like, different or something.
I didn't even play that much, but the part that I thought it was really cool when I clicked on to the website where it says see all your stats or whatever.
Yeah.
I would just like to brag and say that Broforce was my number 4 most played game of the year.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys, what was your most played games of the year?
I'm trying to find the hours now. I know you can find it on your Switch, where actually says the hours, but then I always forget where you go to actually see the hours. Is it under profile or something? I don't know, but you can see the exact hours.
Yeah.
For me, my top 3, because I already said what number 4 was. Number 1 was Animal Crossing. Number 2 was Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, okay.
And number 3 was, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, I should say.
Okay.
And then number 3 was Pokemon Sword.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then Broforce.
Wow.
I don't remember what the third one was for me, but my 2 big ones were Mortal Kombat 11 and Rocket League.
Nice.
Even more than Animal Crossing?
Yeah.
Huh. That's impressive.
Wow.
I was about to say, you sounded almost insulted.
No, not at all. I just remember you talking about how much time you and the wife were putting into Animal Crossing right away.
Yes,
and
right
I thought
away.
maybe that would carry over, but you do play a lot of Rocket League on the Switch.
I do. Not so much anymore, but I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, it was a lot of Children of Morta, actually.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. I played a lot of that. I played a lot of Dauntless, so that was very high as well. And then Super Mega Baseball 3. So
Nice.
Yeah. I thought I was like, wow, cool.
Mine was Animal Crossing as well. And then Hades was my number 2, actually.
Oh.
So that gives you an idea of how many hours I actually put into that game.
Yeah.
Since that came out when? When did that actually release? Like
2 months ago?
Like September or something?
September,
Was it September?
Yeah, I think so.
So even though it was the 9th month that it released, it was my second most played game of the year.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's good. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I like that I like the stats that they send out at the end of every year. That's pretty neat. And then they show you how you compared to the year before. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it turns out I played a lot more Nintendo games this year for some
I was going to say, due to this podcast, I like way more than, what was it? It was like my 2019, I played 56 games, and this year I played 122.
Wow.
Holy hell.
Wow.
And same with hours. Hours in 2019 was 306, and then 2020 was 625. So I doubled hours as well.
Wow.
I went from 17 games to 62 games and 70 hours to 249 hours. So yeah, my Switch got a lot more love this year for the reason of this podcast.
Okay. I can't believe this. I can believe this, but I can't believe this. 171 games I played this year.
I'm still going to ask the question of how many you finished.
I played 171, Phil.
I'm going to turn on every game that's less than 2 cents on the eShop, and I'm going to beat you next year.
Oh yeah, I mean, I played 122, but I probably only beat like 2 of them or something. Like,
that's still 2, Roger.
I might have beaten 1. I'm not sure. No, I don't know. I think I've beaten a couple. I mean, but I was just really shocked about 171. That's insane. How do you even have time for that? That's crazy. But in 1 year, that's insane. But no, that's. I just had a laugh when then Phil, you figured out the hours to games. I'm like, yeah, Phil. But yeah, no, I think that those are cool stats. So I don't know. I thought that was fun to start with. We do have a game we'll be talking about today. It was my pick last week, and I picked the game Tharsis. I will say I did not beat this game. One of us did for sure. I don't know if the other 2 did, but I certainly did not. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But before we get into that, let's go around and tell people what games we're currently playing. And Phil, I'll start with you. What games are you playing outside of Tharsis?
Outside of Tharsis, I really only spent a little bit of time with 2 games, one of which was I put a little bit more time into Boot Hill Bounties, continuing the story on that. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I now have a full party, and we're heading into the main town. Actually, we're already done with the main town. We're heading outside of that, repairing the bridge, all that kind of good stuff. I'm getting a little bit more into it. I still am not a big fan of turn-based combat. I guess I never really have been ever since it was ruined for me with Legend of Dragoon back on the Sony PlayStation 1. It drives me nuts. I need a little bit more action-intensive combat. Even like give me a perfect click on something to get a perfect strike, critical hit or something like that. It makes it a little bit more exciting for me. I don't mean to sound snobbish. That's just the way that I am.
So no Final Fantasies, no Octopath Traveler for you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they bore the hell out of me.
Okay. All right. But I mean, outside of that, are you enjoying the game?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
With the exception of like all right, I'm going to stop myself right there. With the exception of like the kind of racially charged talk that happens towards the natives, like which is still a put off to me even at this juncture in the game. Like when they drop things, I'm just like, that's not okay. I get it. Your game's set in the 1800s or whatever, but still might want to clean that up a little bit for modern times.
Well, that's the thing, right? So I get the fact that it's set in that time frame, but it's now, right? Like there's I mean, like when you have Disney and other studios coming out and saying, hey, the language used in, this cartoon is because it was set back in this time. Like, okay, like I get that. I get why we had to say that. But when you have a game come out like now,
and I think it just came out in like April or May, something like that too. So it's not like they can use the excuse of we're just porting a really old game up. They just chose to run with that ball. It can be done semi-tastefully. I'll give it credit for that, as in Mafia 3, where the protagonist was an African-American person, and it was definitely the racially charged 60s, and they were definitely fitting that narrative for it. So you would here's some words that didn't sit well, but they usually paid the price for using those types of words as well. So
yeah, I think that's the thing, is that if you're doing that, it has to be essentially a main part of the story or like the world itself, and you're not just like having it in there just to have it in there. It has to be like, oh, because there were actual racial tensions, and this is what they would call people like that, who you are, you're the main character, like that sort of thing. But if you do that, you still need to be careful. But yeah, I think you just have to be very, very careful on when you do it, and you have to really have those conversations of like, okay, are we doing this? And if we are we doing it just to do it? Or are we doing it because we feel like it actually adds something, or it can actually be a conversation that people may have? Or because otherwise it's just going to be better just to not even have that be a part of it. Even if you're like, oh, it would totally add a bit more to the realism. Like, yeah, but at what cost?
Well, I mean, you're dealing with 16-bit cartoon style graphics as well. Like the realism isn't necessarily that high up on the chart of things. It's cartoony as all hell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. For a game like that. But then it's like, even if it is like, Mafia 3 or something, it's like, is there going to be a large group of people that don't even want to play this game because of how the character is treated or what they're called, or hearing certain slurs and words and stuff? And it's like, so is it worth it? I don't know. There's a lot to think about there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think, and I'm not going to get into too many of the new games that came out, but there's some game that came out that's a lot of people are talking about right now. And they dealt with some I don't know, some topics, and not a very, like, it was just for filler. It was just not for filler, but to set the scene and stuff like that. So it wasn't really dealing with like the issues at hand. It was just like, look how, gruesome things can be, and look how gritty we can make things look. I'm like, well,
yeah,
but why? You know what I mean? Yep. And I have the problem same with movies too. Like, when Game of Thrones came out, and it was like some of those scenes were like just uber gruesome and like uber violent. Then I feel like people are like, well, let's see if we can up that. Let's see if we can get one above that. And there is something, sorry, I'm not going to get into too much of this, but there is something about the fact that you don't have to show everything, right? And you don't have like, there's times when you use it, it's more powerful when it's for the value that you need it to be the value at, right? Not just for shock value, just to be
shock value. Yeah,
exactly.
I'll even draw the same line, and I'm not sure where Mike stands on this, but I feel the same way about horror movies as well. Like, there's horror movies and there's torture porn. Torture porn being things like Saw and now I'm drawing a blank on the name. Hostel, things like that, where it's just like gruesome for the sake of being gruesome, where to me, a horror movie builds up suspense, builds up like the terror. You're going to get your kill out of it. It's going to be gory, but it's not going to be this long, drawn out type of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with that. I watch horror movies to have fun.
Right.
And I can't have fun with like people like realistic pain, and towards like, I refuse to watch The Hills Have Eyes.
Right.
Because of certain scenes in it. And I just think anything like, if you're doing that just to try, again, like Roger said, the shock factor, it's just, if you're going to do something, do something that makes sense. Don't just do something just to like make a name for yourself. You're like you're like the kid that misbehaves in school just to get attention.
Yeah. To get a reaction. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, and then it's the water cooler talk, like, oh, did you see this? Yeah. Blah blah blah. Right? It's like, well, what was the point? I don't know. So I mean, and that's just violence and gore. But then when you're dealing with other things like sexuality, or you're dealing with sexual violence, or you're dealing with race, it's just something that you can't just do flippantly and just be like, okay,
right.
So. Okay, wow, that was a long discussion.
Right.
Topical.
Catch us after this break for the most serious Nindie Focus podcast episode yet.
So next week, I won't talk about Boot Hill bounties, even if I finish it, to avoid going down this road again. On a lighter note, I also spent a little bit of time with a game that was recommended by you guys called Roombo.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
You did. Okay.
Sweet, man. I had a really good time with that game. And speaking of gory, I didn't expect it to be as gory as it is, but
yeah.
it's super cartoony gore, and it's just an amusing little kind of puzzle game where you just got to throw the burglars off. We discussed it, but it's fun. I'm going to put some more time into it. I think I only finished the first like 3 or 4 levels, something like that. But I got a good kick out of it, and I look forward to coming back to it.
I was gonna say you pretty much played the whole game then, Phil.
That's kind of what I assumed too. Like, and I'm like, do these people build another wing onto their house, or how does this go from here?
It goes from like 3 entries. Yes, exactly. And then they just kick you around.
It's cute though. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I got a kick out of it, and I would like to see like a sequel of that game with more to it. But yeah,
even if like they got tired of their Roomba and sold it to another family, and the other family started using it, and like the same kind of thing happened, almost like, just rummage sale Roomba. I think that's got legs to it. No pun intended.
Oh man, I think that'd be awesome. Cool. Anything else?
No, that's really all that I ever those 2, and I killed a lot of time with Boot Hill Bounty. Sorry about that, everybody.
No.
That's fine.
They can skip ahead if they don't like it. All right.
That's right. That's right. Speaking ahead, people want to listen to Jordan. No, I'm just kidding, Phil. Everybody wants to listen to you too. Jordan, though.
Wow. How many times have I quit this podcast? No, jeez.
That one maybe this is a deserved one, I think, actually. Wow.
That was not a good transition, was it? Jordan.
Oh no, it's perfectly good payback for me making fun of you for how many games you haven't beaten. So we're even.
We're even now.
Yep.
What have you been playing, Jordan?
This will be a quick one. Because other than Tharsis, same as last week, which was I played a little bit more of Paradise Killer, which I'm super into. But that's about it. As when you're a huge gamer like myself, buying all the new consoles, your time just gets spent in all these other places, and I can't give the Switch as much attention as I would like anymore.
I did download Paradise Killer as well. I have not played it yet. No, I haven't. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I'm excited to. It looks really cool.
It is. Yeah, I'm still really enjoying it. I probably only put another maybe 20 minutes to it or so, but yeah, it's just super enjoyable going around slowly gathering clues and just knowing that if I played it through again, or basically your playthrough is going to be completely different than mine. Like it's not going to be something where the outcome changes at all. I don't think. I think it's a very linear, like the outcome is the outcome no matter what, but the order at which you and I will have gotten our clues and who we would have talked to in what order and kind of how we come up to the answer is going to be completely different for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to play it. I plan to put some time into it during the holiday break. So
same.
Nice. What about you, Mike?
So speaking of being offended by things, I played. So what I mean by that is I was offended.
Oh,
and what I'm going to say may offend some people out there.
Oh,
but I played Among Us, and I have no idea how people enjoy this game.
Did you play it on the Switch? Did you play it?
I downloaded it on the Switch. I got caught up in the hype. I was like, people like the Among Us stuff. So it's.
Did you play with random people?
Yes.
Okay, so I will say that's what does it.
Yeah.
The way you're going to find fun in this game is being in Discord or a group call with people.
Yes.
Nobody talks, and then you all open your mics and talk during the voting phases, and all like argue with one another and lie and stuff like that. With randoms, it's honestly not a great game.
Yes, Mike, this is really fun with a group of friends or family. This is a really fun game.
I'll take your word for it.
It's infinitely better.
It is.
Yeah, I was just playing a whole bunch of times. It was like people were dropping out, and like there were these 3 people that were obviously in the same party because there were only like 4 people left, and then these 3 people were just standing there and not doing anything, so that nobody could complete the level.
Oh, that's
it was just like it's just getting so frustrating, and I'm like, why do people enjoy this so much?
Oh, it's so much more. I mean, like when I played it before it came to the Switch, but I was playing it on my phone, and I played it with my family and my wife's family and myself. And I mean, it's so much more fun when you play with people, like my wife and I were sticking together. We're like, we're not going to leave each other's side. We're going to make sure like we're not going to be killed. And then we got separated, of course. So it's so much more fun with people, Mike.
I'm gonna.
I'll play it with you.
Right.
Over the winter break. We can set up a session and we can play.
We can try.
I know that Kyle
I'm pretty
plays as
soured.
well.
Yeah, see, Kyle plays. We can play with him.
Okay.
And maybe Jordan and Phil can join. I mean, the more people you have and the more people you know, the more fun it is.
I do have it on my phone. I've only ever played it twice, and I kind of had the exact same experience as Mike.
But did you play with random people?
I did. And one server at work who had never played it as well because we were super busy. So we definitely did not pull out our phones and start playing Among Us. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, Mike.
No, it's all right. You're not the guy. You didn't tell me.
That's right. Well, what's weird though, I will say about the Switch version versus like even the Android version. So I understand it is that I think the Switch version, I have not played the Switch version, but this is what I've read, that it's easier to control because I will say on the phone it kind of sucks. It's not bad, but it's not great. But you don't get like any cosmetic stuff at all.
Oh yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
And not that I care about that necessarily. Like I do know people, like when we were playing with my wife's family, like there are people that in the family that were buying like cosmetics, and I was like, why? But I mean, okay. But like the fact that you pay $5 and you get nothing at all, that's kind of weird. I don't know. They're coming with an airship though, Mike. So
I would say it's the same way on Steam too, though, isn't it? You pay for it, but you get all the maps as opposed to like on the phone, you have to buy all the maps separately.
Is there only one map right now? I think they're coming out with
it's just the one
right
now.
There's a bunch on one of the servers at work plays on Steam all the time, and she's got a touchscreen computer, and she just raves about how great it is with their touchscreen computer because you can do all the things on the screen, and it's so much easier.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I think the Switch has touch screen as well, right, Mike?
That was going to be my question for Mike.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. I haven't tried it. I've only tried it docked.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I thought I read that you can do touch screen as well. That's what I thought I read.
It would make sense if you could for that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, we'll sometime, Mike, we'll play it as a group, and it is much more fun with friends, and when you have like a group chat and they're like arguing back and forth, what the game reminds me of, if you've ever played like One Night Ultimate Werewolf or anything like that. Anybody ever played that board game at all?
That's a board game. Yeah, I've played that.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. I mean, I love that game. My kids love that game too. So I want them to play this game, but I don't think they can get the controls, like, because there's tasks that you have to do, and they wouldn't get that really. Well, my daughter would, but my son wouldn't. So,
well, I will. I can give it another shot.
Okay,
give it one shot with a full group of people, with at least preferably 10 people. And if you can do that, I think that you would actually love this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
I mean, I'm nothing if not open-minded. So
yeah.
And it's cross-play.
It is.
So, yeah. So, anything else, Mike?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. For myself, outside of Tharsis, I picked up a game, and I'm going to recommend you all pick up this game because this game is really good. I'm not kidding. This is not dripping with sarcasm. Have you guys heard of the game Horace at all?
Horace, like the basketball game?
No, Horace, like Horace.
Like Horace Grant.
Yeah, like
the basketball player.
Like the basketball player. Yeah, exactly.
Roger, do me a favor and quit talking right now. Move on to the next game.
Why? Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. You just absolutely effed up my. Yeah.
I am really. Oh, well. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit then, I guess, won't we, Phil?
Yeah, probably, maybe. Unless I decide to change my mind between here and the next 15 minutes
if
or
you're going to
so.
change your mind.
I was so confused for a second. Now I get it. I was a bit behind there. I was like, what? Is there something bad about this game? Like, is there some like drama we're not supposed to be talking about? Don't worry. I got it.
All right. Well, let's move on to Tharsis then. And then I guess I'll keep my mouth shut about Horace. I have been playing that, though. Anyway, Yeah, let's move on to Tharsis. Tharsis is a game.
Uh-huh.
Are you sure about that?
I'm not sure actually. Let me read you the description here again. So this game is normally $12.90 or $11.99, $12. It is on sale right now for $3.99. It is a best all-time best price. And then I'll read you just a brief description. Dice or space, dice, and cannibalism. Yeah, there's lots of cannibalism, I'll tell you that. Tharsis is a turn-based space survival strategy game where outcomes and actions are based on dice rolls and difficult moral decisions. None of that was lies. That's all true. That's all true right there. A mysterious signal is coming from the Tharsis region of Mars, sets your crew of astronauts off on a risky mission. Who sent it and why? Impossible questions, but your fate is sealed on finding out. Now, millions of miles away from home, the micrometeoroid storm damaged your spaceship and killed 2 vital members of your crew. The mission is no longer just discovery, but to survive the journey with those still alive. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to read the rest of it because whatever. But I'll let others go first and talk about your experience with Tharsis.
I want to hear Mike's notes.
Yes, I do too. I do too.
I made notes.
Was that a throat clear before you got into the notes?
Yeah.
Mike?
And speaking of offended.
Speaking of offended.
All right. So here's my thoughts on. Oh my God. I'm done.
Oh.
I'm playing the game right now as we're talking.
Oh.
And let me bring this into my first point. The game has a nice presentation. It has nice music. It has interesting mechanics. I like the idea of rolling the dice to help you repair different parts of your ship that's blowing up and being destroyed. But I'll let you know. So this is real time, people. This is real time. All right. And now I'm aggravated.
Oh.
So here's what just happened. I have somebody in this part of the ship where it needed 18. You needed 18 points in order to repair the damage. I had 4 die and I rolled 2 6s and 2 5s. Awesome, right?
That's
great. That's a great roll. Here's the problem. This idiotic mechanic of having certain die thing? Even worse, that voids it out. That makes the die disappear.
Yeah.
So I went from having 12, 22. I went from having 22 and completely repairing the hull to having everything being wiped out, and I lost my turn completely.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this aggravates me. So one of my notes, this game actively works against you.
Yeah.
You're not trying to win. You're not trying to be the and I'm just, I'm doing this on easy because you could tell if this is the way I'm acting on easy, you should see me when I try the game on hard.
Or normal.
Ladies and gentlemen, his other show is called The Controller Throwers Podcast. You were hearing it live right now.
I would change it to Punch Myself in the Face podcast. So the actively, I here's what I had in my notes. If you win the game, you don't win the game. The game lets you win.
That's so very true.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a void thing until you just said something about it right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. The injury too. That's annoying.
Injury. Okay, I could see the injury like that. That adds a little bit, of chance to it. But for your dice to be completely wiped out, and I had another one of my first games that I played. There were 3 different die that were all void. So I had a 50-50 shot of completely wiping out whenever I would roll.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's all, and I know it's random, but still it's another thing that frustrated me about this game is you can't take back your moves.
Yeah.
If you do, like I accidentally put my dice into a slot, like to harvest food, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have done that. And they're like, oh, too bad, you made the choice.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you let me take it back?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really, 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 really aggravating. I haven't beat the game once.
So I'm not defending the game, but I think they would say, well, there is the holding that you can put your dice in, so you don't have to put them in a thing, right? So you can put them in the holding and then decide how you want to play those dice. I'm not saying that's the right thing. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just
piss off.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying that's the right thing. I'm just saying like that would be the argument if I were to play the devil's advocate here. But I am 100% agree with you, Mike. Everything you said so far, I'm in agreement. So
yeah. So, and like I said, it's not like the game doesn't work. I mean, it's a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
It plays just fine. I had no problems with the controls or anything. There's a lot of very subtle nuances to figure out in the game. Like you really need to do your research. Like if you're going to play this game, like look up YouTube videos on how to play this game. Otherwise you're going to be completely lost. It had an interesting tutorial, but that doesn't even scratch the surface on all the different stuff you need to know about this game.
Did any of you try the challenges on the main menu where you could instead of starting a new game, you could do a challenge?
No.
Oh. So there's I forget how many, there's maybe 10 or 15 challenges that are basically completely set up. They have different either negative effects or different goals or different amount of weeks you're trying to live and stuff. So they're already set as opposed to the main story one. You can choose from these different challenges and it puts you into this challenge game, which is just has different goals basically. So I played a couple of those. I still lost, but it was cool that they were there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if this game was set up as an actual board game, it'd be a lot of fun. Because I don't trust digital dice. I don't trust digital roulette machines. I don't trust digital slot machines. I don't trust that kind of stuff. It's just the way that I am. If I'm going to sit down at a roulette table, I'm playing a real roulette table. I'm not playing a digital one. Same thing with dice. Same thing with craps. Again, going into my debaucherous natures, but whatever. It's I don't trust the digital manufacturing of it all. These things are programmed to make you lose from time to time or make you have a really good run and win. And the one and only time you played through it and you're like, I don't know what everybody else is complaining about. That seemed pretty easy to me.
Yeah.
100% completed. Right?
One run, done. I don't know what you guys had problems with. I never once hit one of these void things you guys have magically made up. It's like Roger turning into a snake in Deer God.
No, because this time now we're both saying that we saw the void. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I actually thought it was a decent game overall. It was super unique. It's one of the more unique games that we played. We haven't played another board game type thing like this before. That was also semi survival based and also had a narrative tied with it. It was actually kind of cool. There was voice acting, there was light story and little mini cutscenes and stuff like that, which were cool. And I actually liked the whole, the fact that it was a semi board game, but not dice rolling type thing. I thought that was a cool way of doing it.
Yep.
But yeah, like you said, Phil, it's always, it's hard to trust when you really need this one roll and then it's just the complete opposite. And suddenly your character that had 4 health got 4 injuries and died. And it's really, and I know that can happen in real life too, but it is just when you're playing a game and that happens, you're just I don't know about that.
Yeah. I liked too, the fact that they had those moral decisions of are you going to eat one of your crew members? Right. And then when you did, the dice are bloody red. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
It seemed to have an adverse effect too, though, didn't it? Or was that just in my brain?
No, it gives them stress.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you feed them, if you do the cannibalism thing, it raises their stress. Though I never found out what the stress actually does, because I had it maxed out on multiple characters, and I don't know if it meant I lost more dice after every turn, or I don't know what it actually did. But there was nothing that ever popped up that was just because they're super stressed, this happened. So I don't actually know what that did, which is just another thing in this game that you have to look up. Every little compartment you go into or every part of the ship, it's you can basically, fix the ship if there needs to be things that need to be fixed, or you can go in and do the task in the ships. There's the little botany area where it's you can get food for your crew. The thing is, I felt I never really had a fair chance to do a lot of those things because I was constantly just having to fix everything, and every turn was fixing something. And because every turn seems to get progressively harder, you're using your entire crew to do that while they're slowly getting injured and you don't have as much food or as much dice. So I never felt I had a chance to be I'm going to spend a turn getting some food for my crew. And I guess that's the point, is you're supposed to feel you're always making a choice and sacrificing something. But I wish that there was like at least like the first couple turns, maybe if I could just like feel like I was getting set up for the rest of the run. Like, how do you want to do it? Do you want to get more food? Do you want to like increase your hole a bit so it's a bit stronger? Like, I wish that there was like 1 or 2 turns of doing that and then getting into it.
Yeah.
You guys want me to tell you what this game's like when you're super awesome at it, like I am?
Sure.
Yes, I'd love to hear.
I achieved a lot of the side tasks. When I landed on Mars, I was only down 1 point on my hull. Everybody was over half health, and nobody had any stress. I don't know, man.
How is it even possible? Because I felt like the moment I rolled my first dice, they're like, "Oh, your crew's half dead already." What?
And I used a lot of the little potion things at the left-hand side down in that corner to like use like super fast fixes and stuff like that, or to like randomly regain 2 food points and things like when you lock the die into the 1 through 6 Yahtzee style.
Yeah.
I used a lot of those to kind of make my way through it. I'm not saying that was like the game changer or anything like that, because I'm
it did help though.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the fact that rolling virtual dice is BS, and it just happened to make me want to make it through the game on the first time, so I would come here and tell you guys about how great I am at this game and the rest of it. I don't actually mean that, obviously, but yeah, that's the way that it all played out for me. Like, seriously, I did not have a hiccup in the entire thing. I think, if I remember right, I only had to use cannibalism even once or twice. Twice I had to use it.
Oh, wow.
Because, like, I could still, like, go in, and I was sending... I mean, I was doing things like, if it was something that needed 28 points of repair, I'd send somebody with all 5 dice all 5 die into the play.
Right.
But then there were times like I'd have like 2 people with 4 die, 2 people with 5 die, and they'd go off and fix things, and I'd send somebody with 5 die in to go like make more food, and they'd make more food, and I was done with it. Like, again, just good rolls the entire time, which is absolute BS. But you know, I didn't hate my time with the game. I probably never touched it again. I'm intrigued by the challenge mode by it. It's a unique concept. It's done well. I have no idea what the hell went on in the story, except that we landed on Mars and there was some weird stuff that went on, and we don't even know what happened. But yeah.
But you won. You beat the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, good work.
One more than you beat in 2020, Roger.
Yeah, probably.
That was for the trying to make me quit.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I liked the idea. I love the concept behind it. I like the idea of having like this board game and like making these decisions and such. But I mean, Mike, you make a good point. I felt like the game was playing against me the whole time. Like, I was playing against a dungeon master who just wanted to kill everybody off, right? Like in a D&D session. It's like, why? And Jordan, I totally agree with you. I think that if there was something that built up, right, like the first couple rounds, you could do some research and stuff like that, but just like poop hit the fan right in the beginning, and you're like, what am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing.
There was no prep time.
There was no prep time. There's no like, I mean, yes, it got harder as it went on, but it was hard to begin with. Like the first things that happened to your ship, like things falling apart. Now, granted, you probably could say, well, I don't need to fix that, but I don't even know what I should be fixing and what I shouldn't be fixing. Like when something says oxygen is leaking, that sounds bad. I probably should fix that, but I don't know what some of the other things mean. Like, do I care if that breaks? I don't know.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I noticed too, as I was playing through, is like, there was like 2 different turns that I couldn't quite completely fix the thing, and it carried over to the next round where you could still fix it. But I'm like, well, okay, so it didn't get fixed. What is that going to do besides give somebody 1 point of damage for going through it? But if you've got your crewmates split up on either side of it, then they can just tag team things and everybody's okay. I don't know. It was weird, but I didn't hate it.
No, I thought it was cool. It definitely is. There's a lot to it. Like a board game, it does have a lot to it. So it's like, you know, those board games you play where you break it out and you have to actually read the instructions with the people playing it for 45 minutes because there's just that much to it. And then finally you hit a point where you're just like, let's just start playing and we're going to figure it out as we go.
Yes.
There is a lot to it. And as you play through it, it does feel like a lot of it is going to be trial and error, or being like, oh, so that's what that does. And then you're going to die. And then you start again. And I did feel like I was slowly learning. I just wish that there was more ways to find the answers that I wanted, so that I feel like I could play better as opposed to just trial and error.
Yeah.
Like I wish that I could have been like, what exactly does this mean and do? Like there's, I think, there's some games that have really good, like Darkest Dungeon. There's, a button you can press where you can then like scroll over everything and gives you the nice, like detailed little prompt about like kind of everything. And I wish that they had something like this here where it's like, I could scroll over this thing and it's like, this means this, or like this does this. I wish I could just have that extra bit of information so I can make the right choices that I kind of wanted to, as opposed to being like, I think this is the right choice, which really was just focusing on fixing the stuff that was going to damage my hull and fixing the stuff that was going to injure my crew. And that's basically all I focused on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It wasn't the
Again,
greatest.
I'll agree. It's not a bad game. Like,
No, not at all.
don't get me wrong. It's a well-made game. They did a
Yeah.
great job with
They
it, but the
did.
game is really, really challenging. And I would also go so far as to say it's unfair.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree.
It's randomly unfair.
Well, I think that's it, right? Like I feel like they put too much randomness to it, where like you said, like 2 or 3 dice are void dice. Like, what are you
Yeah.
supposed to do then? Like that seems
Yeah.
impossible. Like,
If they,
Did you guys build up your saves or whatever they're called? I don't remember what they were called on the upper right hand side of the screen. Buckets.
Oh,
Your
the
assist?
assist?
Yeah, if you build those up, like it'll nullify a lot of those things, and maybe that's why I did is because there was more than once. Like
Yeah.
I'd go into the room and I'd fix the thing, and then I'd get a couple of like doubles and I'd throw them in there and build up 3 more assists, and so those would kind of help me out.
yeah, and I don't know. I think if they got rid of the void, that would definitely help. I also had one round where I had 3 parts of the ship that were damaged, and all of them were in the upper 20s. I'm like, so there is no way at all in this round I will be able to completely repair all of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of by design, but still, it's like very frustrating.
Yeah.
So I wrote notes.
Well, I agree with all your notes. I do think that there is something about adjusting the randomness, right? Like it felt like it was just, let's just, here's what can happen and let's just let it happen. I think you have to kind of put some parameters around that though.
In a small nitpicky thing, like sometimes the way that the die rolled and moved and bounced around, like you'd sit there and watch and go, really? That's what you're doing right now?
Yeah.
I had
Sometimes I
one-
would roll, but it would just like do the type of roll
like,
they tell people to
it just-
re-roll, where it's like it just like slides and it
Yeah.
doesn't change at all. And I was like, no, that's a re-roll right there. That didn't roll at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
got that
dice
too.
in my life, and that thing just laid flat on 1. What are you doing right now?
Yeah.
I had one that landed on top of another one, and I couldn't even see what that number was. I'm like, I'm thinking this is a 5, but it could be a 4.
That's funny.
I will say this is this game. If you like tough games where you're going to lose a lot and then you'll probably feel really good when you win, unlike Phil, who somehow got it the first time, but odds are you're going to not win a lot. And your first win is going to be way down the line and you'll have learned more. This is probably a good game for you.
Yeah.
If you like it, if you like difficult games where you're just going to lose a lot and you're okay with that, as opposed to like, I'm going in and, after an hour or 2 of play, I'll probably, be able to move up to normal and then hard. And it's like, no, it's not going to happen. Like even on easy, this game is ridiculously hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, what is it like at normal or hard though? Like how much harder could this game get? That was my question.
Oh yeah. I didn't even bother trying because I was like, well, if I'm this bad on easy, like,
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
it's going to just brick my Switch if I try it on hard. It's going to like, you don't even deserve to have this console.
Phil, you're the expert. Why don't you tell us?
Yeah. Phil.
I'll get all over that. I'll actually report back. I'll play around in normal next week over the
Okay.
course of next week, and I'll let you guys know what normal's like.
Okay. I would laugh if you're like, it was easy. I beat it right away. I don't know what you guys
Just
are
like
talking about.
you guys, I don't know. What you guys ever thrown a die before?
maybe
Apparently
it's,
not.
Maybe it's one every like 1 every 4 chances that when you download the game, you get the game that's like really
It's like buying a lottery ticket.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Phil
I've
got the
been winning
kids
over.
version.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
The kids version.
Wait, your guys' dice were bloody after you got into cannibalism? Mine weren't.
Mine had
shiny,
confetti.
pearly white. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had Nickelodeon slime covering them because I did so well.
There's a 1 in 6 chance that the game crashes when you start it up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, good times.
2
All
and
right.
3 are void and 3 locks it out for a reroll.
Yeah. Okay, well that's Tharsis. I mean, yeah, I agree with everything that you guys said. I mean, I guess I was disappointed because I was really looking forward to playing like a board, And it is. It does have that board game feel to it, but it just seems really stacked against us as players. So on to the next game. Phil,
What could it be?
what could it be?
Well, guys, this was a very tough week for decisions. There's a lot of really good sales that are going on right now.
There
That's
really
true.
are.
Like, I'm not even exaggerating when I say 800 to 900 games that are on sale.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I believe it.
There's just tons of things. So I thought about it and I went, man, what would piss Roger off the most for me to pick?
Oh no.
So I went with a game called Crawlco Block Knockers.
You did not.
Oh, you-
Wait, are you actually?
The naughtiest action puzzler on the block is back and more revealing than ever.
Come on. Did you really pick that game?
I was going to, and then I thought about it, and then I had talked to somebody else once upon a time, a long time ago, who had told me how great the game Horace is. So my budget pick of the week is Horace.
It's so good. I'm so happy you picked this game.
I'm sorry I didn't go with Crawlco Block Knockers, but I couldn't do it because
Aw.
Whatever. I'm going to buy it anyway. So whatever. I don't need you to tell me to buy that game.
Yeah. I
There's
gotta,
also- There's also a My Riding Stables game that was on sale, and I'm a sucker for horses, which, strangely enough, again, due to my debauchery nature, like horses, me, riding stables. Yeah, we're cool with that thing.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we were going to do that one. Oh.
I thought about it, but then like I saw what the price of Horace was, and Horace is currently on sale for, I believe, $2.25 or something
Oh,
along
wow.
like
those
that.
lines.
Yeah.
Brief summary of Horace according to the Nintendo eShop. It's an unmissable tale of a small robot on a big adventure. This masterpiece from Paul Hellman and Sean Scalpelhorn is a classic platformer that tells an emotional and surprisingly rich tale of self-discovery peppered with nostalgic popular culture references that'll bring a smile to any gamer who enjoys the 8 and 16-bit era. Made by just two people, Horace offers over 15 hours of exciting platforming and pushes the boundaries of the genre with the profound storytelling, quirky and nostalgic pop culture references. Pop culture references are big in this. Game made by video game lovers for video game lovers. And then we've got the little like note things. Horace could easily be one of the most charming games of the year. Said, "Oh, I'm not going to read a bunch of effing reviews." Adventure through hours of varied gameplay, dubbed by many as Indie Game of the Year 2019. So classic Phil, late to the party. Overcoming 2D platforming challenges with unique twist, unlock new Metroidvania-inspired robot abilities, enjoy plenty of retro-inspired minigames, and reunite Horace with his family.
I'm very intrigued. I'm down for a platformer.
Yeah, sales good until 12/31 as well. So we should have the next episode up by then. No.
Well, this one will air on the 28th, right?
Yeah, if wants to play along with us, they can go ahead and do so.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
from what I understand from multiple people, including Roger's beginning of a glowing review that I so rudely cut him off on,
That's okay.
that we should all enjoy this game.
Cool.
So normally this game is $15. It's $2.09 right now. So
Very nice.
yeah, I can't wait for you guys to play it because I can't wait. I'm not gonna say anything. You guys got to play it. It's 505 is the publisher, so Paul Hellman is developer, and then 505 Games published it. So
I'm excited.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm also a sucker for Metroidvania games. I know that they get overdone very heavily on any kind of an eShop, indie shop, whatever, but they're always, I shouldn't say always, but most of the time they're a good time.
who is the person who told you this is a good game?
Carrington.
Okay, yeah, I figured it was either Carrington or Kyle. So cool.
We don't talk about Kyle.
So yeah, now we could all talk about it next week. So I'm excited to talk about this game. Cool. All right. Well, before we head out, then let's go around and tell people how they can get a hold of us. And we'll start with you, Phil. How can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at BNow23.
Okay. And Jordan, how can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at Cryptic Jordan.
And Mike, how can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at TC Throwers and at twitch.tv/TC Throwers.
And listeners, you can find us on Twitter at GamerHeadsPC or you can find us on Twitter at Focus Nindie. You can also find us at our website at gamerheadspodcast.com, and there you would find this podcast along with the Controller Thor's podcast. That's Mike's other podcast. You'll also find podcasts like the Real Dudes and Bells and Roses podcast and the Gamerheads podcast. So check that out. And then also you can find news, reviews, articles, and such as well at gamerheadspodcast.com. All right. Well, Phil, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thanks for putting up with me.
And Jordan, thank you so much for joining us.
Always.
And Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And listeners, thank you so much for giving us a listen. We appreciate it. If you like what you hear, do leave us a review. We'd love to hear what you have to say about the show. You can do so at Apple iTunes or at Podchaser or wherever you get your podcast. With that, until next time, stay safe and game on. I'll talk to you in a week. See ya.
So long.
Be well, everybody.
Bye.